Hello, everyone. How are we this wonderful Sunday evening? Welcome to the stream. Looks like we got 5 of you in the stream right now. Say hi in the chat if you like. If you don't know who I am, I don't know why you wouldn't know who I am. I'm Joe of Joe's Computer Museum, and we're going to be doing some fun stuff tonight. We are going to be doing a repair on my FloppyEMU Model A. I believe it's a Model A. That has a very common problem with the CPLD chip failing. So this will be my first surface mount kit thing that we're going to be doing. So we're going to see if that goes well. A couple things before we start to let people kind of roll in. Hey, Lemon Herb! How you doing, man? How's things up Canada way? So checking out, yes, I have a list of things to go over here. First off, if you're new to my channel, new to my stream, new anything like that, I got a little merch store at jcm-1.com, and I have cool things in that store, like this wonderful drinking mug that I have full of yummy, tasty tea. Delicious. That you can get. You can also get one of these 8 bits are all you need t-shirts there. You can get other cool geeky Apple II stuff like my WAS D596AA, whatever it is, design that I have. So if you get those things, it helps support my channel and keeps my racks back here stocked with cool things to play with. I also have Twitter. You can follow me on there. I post weird witticisms and just funny stuff on there. And also that's kind of how I tell you people how I'm going to be, or when I'm going to be doing streaming and stuff, and little things. I also have Patreon, which is a great way to support the museum. Just drop $1 in that cup, go on over there. I'm Joe's Computer Museum in Patreon, as you can see up here in this corner. That also helps out my channel and helps, keep things stocked and rolling. Finally, I have started syncing my content to library.tv, lbry.tv, just to have it as a backup in case, YouTube decides to, I don't know, fall over, become unpopular, or something like that. So it's over there too. So if you'd rather view my content there, you can do that. This little live stream tonight is the second in a couple of Sunday night live streams that I've done. Of course, if you were here last Sunday, you saw the stream where we put together the LED Bright kit with me and Javier and Chris and Alex. That was really fun. And I figured maybe I'm going to start doing some more live streams, more weekend live streams. People tend to be watching more around this time on Sundays. So, if I'm there, you can watch. And I think that the live stream might give me the impetus to do more work, post more content, show people more stuff. So maybe it'll become a regular thing. Maybe it won't. Maybe I'll just do it randomly. I don't know. So let's get into what we're actually doing here tonight. Again, we're replacing the Xilinx CPLD chip on my version 1 or version A, a FloppyEMU. If you're not familiar with the FloppyEMU, it's from Big Mess of Wires, BMOW. Steve Chamberlain is the guy that designed that. Super cool thing that allows you to hook an SD card up to your floppy port on any Apple II, Mac, or Lisa, basically, and have the ability to not have to use floppy disks for those devices. It's one of the most versatile and super helpful devices out there for keeping your old Apple IIs running without having to worry about the magnetic media and all of that. But that device has that bad chip on it. Now the version version A has been known to have that chip have failures. When my device failed, I reached out to Steve Chamberlain. I'm like, hey, what's the deal? What's causing this? What do you think? He's like, yeah, this chip dies sometimes. It's just how it is. So he told me, you can order a new one. Here's the chip to order. You can surface mount, desolder it, stick a new one on there, and see what happens. Well, that's what we're going to do tonight. I have never done anything like this before in my life. This will be the first time I'm doing anything sort of solid, or not solid, surface mount like this. So I may catch things on fire because I have to use a heat gun. And I'm sure you guys would love to see that. It would be super entertaining to watch my bench light on fire. But I'm going to try not to do that. So let's actually switch over to the bench here. and show you what the device is actually doing. We'll switch to the bench, and then I'm going to tilt my camera over this way so you can see me. Are we on the bench? Yes, we are. So this is my version A FloppyEMU, one of the earliest ones. I was sort of an early adopter of this because it's just the coolest thing. It's the bee's knees. But it's, you know, it's having some issues here. Not turning on. So I do have it connected here to an Apple II off to the side, and I'm going to turn it on, and you can see what it does. As you can see, it does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. The light blinks, the screen doesn't come on, nothing happens. And if you actually put your hand on it, one of these components here, this little diode or whatever here, actually gets super hot because the CPLD has shorted and it's drawing tons of current. Well, I think it's time that we fix that, so let's get started. Here is what we're going to do. Here's my game plan. First off, this black thing right here is a computer case. It's an aluminum computer case side, just because I need something as a little bit of a heat sink or a heat shield against my backing here, because this isn't very heat resistant. So that's all this thing is. And then we have this guy, and here's what I'm going to do. We're going to take the screen off, and this is the chip we have to replace. There are some other things around this, though, that are a little bit of an issue. As you can see, we've got this big plastic connector here, and this plastic connector here, and this plastic connector here, and other things around here that we don't want to be desoldering, or in this case, melting. So something I'm going to try doing here is I'm going to try actually desoldering these jacks. And then putting them back on when I'm done, just so I don't mess up the plastic. Now, I do have little pieces of cut aluminum here that I can use as shields that I can lay over top of things just to help a little bit. But I have the tools to remove these pretty easily from this board, so I figured we might as well do that. Now, you might also notice that sometimes the camera here will disconnect and reconnect. That's just because of the way I had to set this up. I'm using an iPhone as a camera effectively here for the bench, because the webcam I have that's high enough resolution to make this work is a lot more unstable than this. And as we all know right now, because of the world circumstances that are happening, getting webcams is almost impossible. So we're going to work around that. So let's start by getting these jacks here unsoldered from the board. So for that, I need some solder, and I need my trusty, dusty soldering iron here. And we are going to, basically, we're going to add some solder to all of these points so that the soldering gun that I use will take the solder off better. So let's do that. Just going to hit these up real quick with just a little bit of modern solder, or I should say lead-based solder, in case these were wave soldered or something. I'm not sure how Steve put these together. I don't know if he used what's it called, silver-based solder or something like that. But we're just going to add a little bit of solder to these points. It makes them come off a little easier. Doobie doobie doo. Fire bad, yes. Do the Model Cs fail as well? That's one question. From what I understand, he's put a lot of extra circuitry in the Model Cs to help prevent that from happening. So I do not believe that the Model Cs have that problem. Don't connect with the soft SP card. Yes, understood. That is a thing. You don't want to do that either. That causes all different types of problems. So I added solder to those. Let's add solder to these. Yep, cut the legs off with an X-Acto knife and wick them away. Yeah, you can do that too. I'm going to be doing it the weird, crazy way because it's more entertaining. Using a hot air gun that is way too large for the project, because why not? And then using flux and tweezers and things, because why not? So here's the gun I'm going to use to suck that off. This is the Hacko FR301. It's just used to suck solder out of pins, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And hopefully, if I do this right, they'll all just fall out. That come out. That's out of there. Do this one. Dooby dooby doo. Does this one come out easily? Needs a little extra work. Almost got it. That was out. And I broke it. Well, I already destroyed it. These pins did not come out as easily as I expected them to, but that's okay. We will work around the problem. I will replace those pins with different pins. No worries there. And because, as you can see, when these pulled out, I broke them. I screwed them up. I did not expect that to occur. We're going to work around that problem. We will replace these with a different kind of connector, because these just take standard header pins, so I can put some header pins in there. I've got something that'll work in that case. And that's the case. I'm not going to, for this thing, I'm not going to actually remove that. We're going to shield that instead with a piece of aluminum. This is actually just a piece of a can, an aluminum can, that hopefully will suck enough heat or keep enough heat away from the chip here to protect it. So let's see, I've got this little piece here. Yep, that goes on there well, and I can put this here. And I have some Captain tape I can use to keep things stuck down. Now, Captain tape is a heat-resistive tape. It doesn't mean it keeps heat off of stuff. It just means it itself is resistant to the effects of heat. So, get a little piece of tape here. Now, with this, if I end up breaking this early, or we end up getting done with the stream early, I have a couple other little projects we can work on in the background that are just little solder yourself kinds of things. So we'll see what happens there. So we'll use that to protect this from the hot air. That can just kind of sit there. And then we're going to use a couple pieces of tape just to protect these items. Just to protect it against the air. Oh, there went the camera. Now it's back again. This thing is silly. I'm using I'm using a piece of software that streams or that effectively uses your iPhone, uses an iPhone as a webcam, because the webcam that I did have, which is buried over here, the video quality is much worse. It craps out a lot more than this camera does for whatever reason. So that's why I'm using that. But of course that's not perfect, because the iPhone wasn't designed to be used as something like that. So if it cuts out, it cuts out. We're just going to have to deal with it. Okay. We are about as good as we're going to get. So I have this this piece of aluminum foil here to shield this plastic, this over here to just shield the rest of the board, and then I've got a hot air box, basically a hair dryer on something that I'm going to use to melt the solder here. Before I hit this with that though, I am going to drag solder across these with my iron to add a little bit of solder, extra solder to those, and then add a tiny bit of flux to it as well to help it melt super easy so that it'll come off. Because I kind of have to do a two-handed thing where I'm holding this here and I'm prying up with a pair of tweezers and all of that stuff. In addition, it'll probably help for me to use something like the helping hands to hold this down on the board while I'm working it so it doesn't go all over the place. Something like that. So we're going to do that now. Where's my solder? It's right here. So what are we all doing tonight other than watching me? Getting ready to work from home next week, or what's going on? How are things on your part of the world with everything that's going on weird in the world right now? I'm kind of curious how people other than me are doing the thing. Okay. Just add a little bit of solder to this so it melts easy and comes off. Okay. Now that's on there, we can do the flux trick. So I've just got some flux that Henry Corbis actually sent me for a completely different project that I figure we'll just use for this project. Because why not? I got it. So I'm going to use a little bit of flux on here. A little goober-doo. Honestly, I don't know what it does exactly other than helping the solder melt easier. People just say it's something you should use when you're doing reflow, so I'm going to use it. Okay. Here is the moment of truth. I'm going to be able to do it or not. Yeah, you remove the IDC header. Yeah. Let's do a little chat thing. Do y'all think I should take off the IDC header? Do you think I should try to remove this or leave it in place? What do you think? I screwed up these pins right here, as you can see, trying to get those out of there. So that's kind of an issue. I'm worried about screwing up those pins. So what do you think? Should we try taking it out? Cool, Peter. That's Petar. Sorry, I mispronounced your name. You're upgrading your Oki data printer to finally get it to use it on the Apple II Plus. That's awesome. Did you post? I think you posted something where somebody sent you some firmware for that. Did I not get any focus nozzles with the hot air? No. Nope. It's just some big fat hot air gun I got a couple years ago. I'm just going to blast it and see what happens. And here's the thing: this is an old version of this. If it dies, it dies. I'm not worried about it. It's already broken. As a matter of fact, I already have the up-to-date version of it anyway. So if I break it, I'm not too worried about it. I'm just trying it to see what happens when I try it. Drop something on the floor. Give me a second. Well, I'll find it later. IDC cheap, no big deal if it melts. Do you have a decent vacuum desoldering pump? Yes, I do. I've got the Hakko FR301, kind of the industry standard there. So, looking like, let's just desolder the thing from the back of the board and get it out of the way. So let's do that. Why not? Doobie-doobie-doo. My hands are a little unsteady this evening. I apologize. Too much caffeine. Hands a little more steady this way. You guys can't really see what I'm doing there because the gun's in the way, but the gun doesn't really work that well sideways either, so it's like, what am I going to do? Maybe it does. I don't know. Let's try it. Let that warm back up a little bit. Yep. When you're doing multiple holes in a row like this, you got to be careful because the heat of the iron can actually drop to the point where it's, you think it's sucking the solder out of the holes and it's not. So you got to be careful with that. Okay. Let's see. Does it come out? Nope. Missing a point here or there somewhere. So let's try it again. So So how's my, is this camera working? Is it popping in and out a lot? I kind of see it blinking here, and I'm just worried that that's an issue. Because if it is, I can switch to the face cam here to be the bench cam. It'll be a lot lower resolution and kind of grainy, but at least it won't drop in and out a lot. Okay. Doesn't really want to pop out here. I'm just trying to see where I'm missing solder here. Use the good old magnifying glass. I mean, it looks clear all the way through. Doesn't really want to move at all. Here's a trick I'm going to do. I'm going to actually resolder these and then suck them out again. Because sometimes they just don't want to come out. Sometimes fresh, clean solder fixes that problem. Doobie doobie doo. I'm humming in the background as I do sometimes because I'm weird. I've been humming that tune at variant of Strangers in the Night ever since a Super Bowl ad. I don't know if you guys remember this ad from back in the 90s. I don't know how old my audience is, but there's a Super Bowl ad for Bud Light or something that had a penguin that was singing Doobie Doobie Doo. Ever since then, I kind of, that's my, I don't know, like my Jeopardy music. There we go. Oh, these pads here are hot, as they would be, conducting heat there. Let's try this again. Yep. Yeah, the camera is dropping for a second too every now and then. Okay, as long as it's not like super distracting and it doesn't go out for long periods of time, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here because it's nice high quality video. Okay. Riveting content, I know. Watching me take solders out of holes, or take solders out of holes, but you know, whatever. This is about due for a service. I do have quite a bit of junk in the carriage there. I apologize for the lack of voiceover. I'm just focused on my job here. Image quality is good on the camera. Yes, thank you. That's kind of why, yeah, I'm using this one. The other camera I was using was, here, I'll grab it. It's this Logitech camera thing that I was playing with last night to see if it would work correctly, and it kept just having static and like weird video dropouts and like MPEG artifacts and all them types of weird issues, and it was just bothering the heck out of me. So I decided to go with this instead. Let's see if this comes out now. It feels a little bit better. Yeah, there we go. Almost. Which one's still tight? Not sure. There we go. Of course, I pulled one of the pins out too, but that's not to worry. They're all pretty much staying in place. Okay. Cool beans. So that's out. So now we can proceed with chemicals and goop that I have all over my fingers because I soldered that first, or I gooped that first, but you know, whatever. So let's add a little bit more of this. And we're just going to see what happens, right? Are we ready? Okay. Now, I want to hold this, actually, so that I can pry on it with the tweezers, which are right here. Yes. See how hot this gets. I do know this is hot enough to melt solder. I've done it before with it. Looking like I'm not having a lot of luck with this actually melting the solder. I've done this a million times before with this heater, but it doesn't seem to be doing it. So this may be a very short video. There it goes. Ha-ha! It did work. And we have smoke. We've got smoke coming off of it, so that's awesome. So I should not need this again, so I'm going to go ahead and put this away. Okay, so the bad chip is removed. Now we need to remove some of the goop off of the board here. So we're going to let that board cool down a little bit. Get the bad old chip out of the way. And we're going to get solder wick here, because we need to remove some of the extra solder that is laying on the board there that doesn't really need to be there. Okay. There we go. Check that and see how good that looks. Still got some bridges on the right-hand side here, so we need to get rid of those. Right here, there's still some bridges. So I'm just using standard solder wick to just suck the extra stuff up off those traces. Okay, let's check that out. I see no bridged pairs. That's good. But just in case, I'm going to hit it a couple more times, just to make sure we got all the stuff off the board, because any extra solder that does not need to be there could bridge across between pads and cause us to have a bad day. And we don't want to have a bad day. We want to have a good day. Okay. That looks pretty clean there. And that side's perfect. That side's got a little too much on it. What happened to my video? It crashed. Video's back. Sorry about that. Okay. Sorry about that little video hiccup there. So, make the old chip go away. I'm going to move this board out of the way. Okay. Stand by. I have a little solder paste mess over here to clean up. There we go. Okay. Now we got new chips. So here are the new chips. Right there they are. But before I go and get these out of the board, or out of the package here, I'm going to put on my wrist strap because we don't want to hurt anything. So we're going to put on the wrist strap there. There we go. Now I'm all ESD grounded. So taking a look at our board here, what we have is pin 1 of the board is right here. There is in this corner. And when we look at our chip, that's the way the chip sits as well. Come here, you little guy. So pin 1 is this little dot right here on the chip. It's very hard to see, but it's right there. So when we put this in there, we need to make sure it goes in that way. Just like that. And when we put this in, one of the first, basically what we want to do is solder one of the corner pins here to get it to where it's not moving around, to where it's in place really well. And then once it's in place, then we can just drag solder across the rest of those pins and it should be fine. The trick is getting this aligned properly. Also, I'm kind of far away from the motion here. Because, you know, if I get down in here, you're going to see the back of my head and not the action. So, let me turn it this way. Maybe I can see pin 1 a little bit better that way. Just got to get it aligned. There we go. I'm going to scoot that over here and give it a little love tap. Doesn't really want to stick where I want it to be. There we are, almost. Really doesn't want to go on top of those pads. I don't think I've removed enough solder from those pads. So I'm going to try getting a little more solder. These pads right here are acting as kind of little bumps, little ridges that really aren't helping the chip stay down steady there. We'll try that again. We'll see if we can get some more solder off these pads so they're flatter, so it'll stay down better. Riveting content. Super entertaining. That looks better. That looks much flatter. Okay, let's try this again. Use the flux to hold the chip in place. Yep. Trying to get this chip out of here. There we go. Got it oriented incorrectly. Let's twist it here. See what the alignment looks like now. Does it align better? Yep, it does align better that way. There we are, almost. Alrighty, I believe I have that aligned. It only took like 20 years. Can't believe I can hand solder something that small. And also my eyesight is much better now. Well, see, here's the thing. If you can see, I'm wearing glasses. Yeah, without these, I can't see anything, so my eyesight really isn't that good. So, you know, don't sell yourself short. Also, as you can see, I'm using a magnifying glass here to make sure things are the way they should be. Yep. Yep, that is perfectly aligned. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of flux on it. Just a tiny, tiny bit. And hopefully this chip will stay in place with the flux. The flux will be a little goopy, help us keep it on the pads. While I solder one of the corner points to keep it fully in place while I solder the rest of the thing. Now let's double check that. That looks like it slid to the left a little bit. Tiny little bit of movement. There we go. And it went up a little bit, so let's slide it down. Just a little bit. Oops. There we go. Now it's on there. Almost. That looks pretty good to me. Not quite. The bottom legs aren't quite aligned. There we go. Now let's see if I can get one of these pins soldered without it moving around. Here comes the trick. Now, you may end up seeing my head in the shot here because I have to get super close to this to make sure that this doesn't move around on me. And of course I touched it and moved all over the place. Fine, screw the tweezers, I'll use my fingers. I'm grounded anyway. Should be fine. Almost. Well, this is the footeriest little thing ever. Doobie doobie doo. That's close enough. Just gonna do it. Just hit that with solder so it doesn't move. Not enough, apparently. Should be enough solder left on that pad to heat that up and make that connect. Yep, it's in place mostly. So now we can get some fine alignment here. Now that I got one of the pins in place. Yeah, it's pretty close. So I'm going to do another corner here. I'm just going to tap it with whatever solder happens to be on the pad just to keep it in place. Okay. Right, is that solid? It is. It is solid. It's on the pins. I got the pin 1 mark in the right spot. Okay, so now we're going to just hit all these solder points. Before we do that, I'm going to add a little more flux so we can drag solder it and stuff doesn't stick where it's not supposed to stick. You can do it. You can do it. You're going to come out of the machine for me? There we go. Okay, let's see what happens here. Let's see how successful I'm going to be. Doobie doobie. More flux, better, yep. Do I have a small spring clamp? No. The only thing I have is helping hands, if that's what you mean, to like hold the board so it doesn't go all over the place. Something like that, just keep it from moving around. I'm just clumsy. And I just kind of do stuff for the fun of it. So I am by no means a professional. I'm normally a Windows PC guy, and soldering and stuff like this is just kind of something I do for fun. And if I succeed, I succeed. If I don't, whatever. So let's see, the corners I soldered, well, we'll just start here. Little drag solder across that. Little drag solder across that. Waiting in between each drag that we do, because the chip, you don't want to raise the temperature of the chip too high because you'll melt things, bad things will happen, and all of that stuff. Whoa, way too much solder there. Okay, way too much solder. See if we can drag that solder off. So this is a trick you can use if you get two pins bridged across each other. You can drag away from it and sometimes get that to clear. Clearing your iron off every time so it'll preferentially stick to the iron instead of the pins. There we go. Those are cleared. Now, okay. And I just got this other side to do real quick, and we should be gold. I'm going to turn this sideways, like this. Yep, we can try again, exactly. Just a little bit. Don't need a lot of solder here. If you put too much solder, you see what happens, and you get those solder bridges. Of course, if you bridge two pins together, bad things can happen. Usually just it won't work, but sometimes fire. So let me double check this with my magnifying lens here. Make sure I don't have any cross bridges between pins. Doesn't look like it. Looks good to me. Though these here look a little dry, so I'm going to hit those again. they are. Check that again. Looks as good as it's ever going to get. Not too bad for my first time doing that. You know, getting flux all over the place and whatnot. So let's clean up my work area a little bit and get rid of things that don't need to be around. Put the solder out of the way, put the Captain tape away, put the scissors away, throw away this little bit of stuff. Okay. Now we have that done, we can peel all our tape off. Should be done with that. Now we need to clean all the flux off there. So we should be able to do that with isopropyl alcohol and a brush, which is exactly what I have. I have isopropyl alcohol and a toothbrush, so let's do that. Plenty of IPA to clean the flux away. Getting rid of the flux and letting it dry will also help us see if all of our bridges or all our solder connections are good, because it gets rid of any stuff that could refract, diffract light, all of that stuff. So we can also clean it up off of our workspace like that. Okay. Now I'm going to use an air blower here to just kind of blow it dry a little bit. Making sure to get up underneath all of the edges of this, just to get any of the isopropyl or any flux up out of there. Okay, I'm going to give it one last check here. I know it's not going to be perfect, but as long as all the pins are soldered and it looks clean, and I don't have any bridges, I'm going to call it done. Looks like I might have a solder bridge right there. Can we get up on that, see that? Yep, looks like I got one right in there. So let's see if we can get that cleared out real quick. And now I lost it. Which side was it on? Which side were you on? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. Yeah, it's right there. Yep, it's right here. There we go. Looks clear. Let me double check that. Nope, still there. I'm going to do this actually under the microscope. Haha! Magnifying lens. If I can get it set up properly here so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Double check that. Yep, that one's clear now. That looks as good as that's going to get, at least for my first time doing it. Now I am going to clean my fingers off because I got flux all over them. Okay. That, in theory, is completed. Now we have to flash it. Actually, before we flash it, we got to put all our connectors and stuff back on. Got to put these connectors back in so we can see what it's doing. But that doesn't look clean enough to me. I'm going to clean it again. Looks like there's still some goop up underneath it. Here we are. There's my air duster. There it is. That looks cleaner. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Yep, looks good. So now we need to put our connections back in. This one's easy. Just kind of goes in there, make sure all the pins are the same level. They are. We got some flux on the back side of the board still. I'm going to clean that up. Okay. There we are. Same approach as me. Ordered the Floppy Emu Rev C from Steve as a replacement. He told me to try to replace the Xilinx on the Rev A. Yeah. And it's one of those things, like, if you feel comfortable doing this stuff, you can try it and see what happens. I mean, the Rev A is relatively speaking, a much older device than the Rev C. The Rev C is a better device. It even has the nicer OLED screen and all of that stuff, too. But it, the Rev A just has these known issues. I can replace this chip, and 6 months from now, it could fail again because I don't want to say it's a faulty design. It's like any, first run of anything. There are certain things you learn as you go, and I'm sure Steve learned that he needed to add a resistor or capacitor or something somewhere to take care of some sort of condition on the board. So, I am not dogging Steve's design at all. This is one of the most important developments for Apple II, Mac, and Lisa preservation in many, many, many moons. So, okay. I'm going to solder a corner pin. Now this is through-hole stuff, and I have good rosin-based solder with the built-in rosin flux, so I don't really need to pre-flux this or anything like that. Okay, that's not quite even. I want this to be nice and pretty. Okay. That's good. Now we can do this corner. It needs a little more solder. Just a little bit. Okay. Looks good. Looks even and level. Now we can hit the rest of the points. Soldering through-hole stuff does not bother me at all. That's relatively easy stuff to do. It's the SMT stuff, the surface mount technology, that I've never done before. So as you can see, I'm just kind of flying through these. This is just simple stuff, but the SMT is mostly tricky because it's so small. Getting everything connected is getting it connected, properly aligned, preventing bridges between things, all of that. It's just tricky to do. That's why most of the times these days it's done by machine. Okay. Let me check my connections here. Those all look good to me already, but I'm just going to be paranoid and double check them. Yep, those look good. We'll clean that, clean our flux off the back of those pins. Yep, looks good. now we need to put these things back in. This one will be easy because it didn't fall apart on me. It's mostly just used for holding the board in place anyway. It's not really used as a connection point, but we need to put it back in. Oops. Yeah, Steve. Yeah. Paul says, yeah, Steve's a class act. Brilliant person, stands behind his products. Chris says the same thing. Absolutely. Steve is a consummate professional, super genius, in my opinion. Knows his stuff. And the thing about him knowing his stuff is the stuff that he knows is across a whole bunch of different, what can you put it? Gosh, my brain. See, I'm an idiot. I can't even think how to talk tonight. What's the word I'm looking for? Topics, subjects. That's what I'm thinking about. The word is topics. Okay, so that is in there, but it's all askew. So we need to do a little adjustment here. It's still skewed. I have. There we go. Yeah, this thing just doesn't want to go exactly where I want it to go. That's pretty close. We should be able to adjust that a little bit just through bending. There we go. Now we can hit the other solder point and get that in firmly in place. Okay. That looks pretty even. Now I need to get these things back together. These pins fell out of this connector. So I'm just going to try shoving them back up in there. What's the worst that could happen? Won't work right? Let's see here. I need something with a back on it to push on it. Kind of doesn't want to go back in there, basically because the plastic melted around it and it doesn't want to do the thing. So if it doesn't really want to do the thing, I might just replace the entire connector. That one went back in place. There we go. They're back in place now. Now we just solder this guy in place. Now to solder this in place, I'm going to use a little trick. Since this is already affixed, I'm actually going to put this whole thing in here to hold those pins exactly where I want them to be held while I solder it. It's a trick I learned a long time ago. And basically you use that, you just do a couple corners with just a real quick tack, almost like doing a tack weld or spot weld, just to hold it in place. And then once you get that in place, you can take this out again and then do the full connection. Real quick tack on the corners. There we go. That's in place. Now we can remove this. Solder the rest of the pins. It should be golden. A little more there. Yeah, it's good. It's good. A little more on that one. Okay. Check all my solder points. Again, because I'm paranoid. A couple of these in the middle don't look like they're missing a little bit of solder. I mean, they're connected. I just want a nice flow on it. There we go. That's better. Now we can deflux this with good old isopropyl alcohol. For those in the know, we call that IPA. Stands for isopropyl alcohol, not India Pale Ale. Although that a beer would be nice right now. Okay, that's all clean. You can blow this off. There's still quite a bit of flux that's just up underneath this that I keep finding and blowing out. So I'm just going to keep hitting it until it's all gone. Yep, exactly. Yep. Beer equals bad flux remover. But it's a great remover of brain cells, and some days we just need that, right? Okay. So, this is the moment of truth. We are going to put it all back together and see what happens. Worst case scenario, nothing. It'll be exactly like it was before. Or maybe worst case scenario, it'll catch fire. Okay. I'm going to just put it on this just to isolate it from the metal here. And plug that in right there. And turn it on and see what happens. Are we ready? We're ready to see the fire occur? 3, 2, 1. It lights up now. Yeah! CPLD is blank. Good. So we get to turn that off. Now we got to flash the firmware. Where is my firmware? Here it is. It's in my computer. I already have it loaded up. Give me just a second. Firmware chip. Plug that in there. Now we need to upload the CPLD firmware. Now I need to bring up the instructions to remember how to do that on that. This is doing the CPLD is holding down next and previous. Press and release the reset button. Okay. Next and previous. Press and okay. Cool. It looks like it's working. Does that look like that's working to you? Huh! Is the video working? Can you see the video? I see the video. Somebody said the video froze. Looks like it's working to me. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, video's working. No, it's working. Okay. Weird. That seems to work just fine. Hit the reset button. It still says CPLD is blank. So there we go. Updating CPLD. There it's going. Waiting. Spinning. Yeah! Result success! Awesome! Self-test okay. Now, I also want to update the firmware of the AVR in case they're out of sync from each other, because I don't remember what firmware was on there last. So I'm going to go ahead and update both of them. So the AVR is select in previous and hold down the reset. So it's select in previous and then hold down reset. Bootloader flashing the bootloader. Self-test okay. Ha ha! Yeah, that is super awesome. So that's the first time I ever did surface mount, and it actually went correctly. That is amazing. Wow. Cool. So, that just goes to show you that it's not as hard as it looks as long as you take your time and you have at least some solder flux, a good soldering iron, and specifically a hot air gun of some sort to get the original chip off. You just take your time, go slow and do it, and it does the thing. Wow. So let's actually, I'm going to switch my face cam over to the Apple II and see if I can load something up on the Apple II. So the Apple II I'm using is my Apple IIc Plus because it's small and it fits on the bench. I'm just putting my tools away real quick just because they're in my way and I don't like stuff laying around on my bench in my way. So I'm going to move the face cam. Stand by. Shaky cam time. Shaky cam time. Wow, I got all types of stuff falling over on the bench now. Wow. Let's see here. I'm going to move that down the way to make sure that we can see the Apple IIc. There it is. Cool. Awesome. So now let's switch this to that. Yeah, there's a little bit of blanking, but you can see it. So I'm going to go and see if I can pick a disc. Apple II disc select, 5.5 select. Oh, I don't know. Bank Street Writer. I don't know. Ooh, I have a different idea. Let's boot to Apple II Desktop and see if it sees disks. Let's do that. That refresh rate, it's kind of hard to see what's on the screen, isn't it? A little bit. Loading Apple II Desktop. Please wait. There we go. Check drives. Oh no! It doesn't see what's in there. Oh no! I'm sure it works fine though. Previous. Let's eject that. Let's try this. Yeah. Interesting. Well, it's not finding disk images, and I have a feeling that's just a firmware glitch or something because, I mean, it took the CPLD firmware, it took the device firmware, it's up and running. Weird stuff. Not sure why it's not picking up things here. Maybe I should hook that up to an LCD monitor. Maybe you won't get that refresh issue. So you can actually see what it's showing on the screen. That's fine. I really want to get a much better camera for doing live streams because, you know, this camera here is just low quality crud, and my high quality camera does not work doesn't work for live streams. It's just the weirdest thing. Try booting slot 6 and see if I can boot from this disk. Yeah, there we go. That's Choplifter. I just booted Choplifter correctly from the FloppyEMU, and it worked just fine. So that's awesome. Yeah! Awesome sauce. So now we can put our camera back where it was. Shaky cam coming in. Warning, warning. Okay. So yeah, that seemed to work just fine. That is quite amazing. I've never done anything like that before. Wow. So there's first time for everything. So, if you're ever doing something like SMT or soldering or projects or anything and you haven't done them before, don't be afraid to do it, especially on something that's already broken. Because if it's already broken, you're not going to make it any worse. So you tend to have a little less pressure doing that. Also, get some little kits to play around with soldering as well. Just to play around and see how things do. So, let's look at some of the comments here. What are people saying? Video blacks out occasionally. Yeah. I know about that. Throw a Grappler 2 Plus with the DIY Smart Part EEPROM in slot 5. Disconnect pin 12 and pull up a giant ProDOS volume. Yes, that's cool. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what's going on. Do you guys want to see me throw together another kit? The stream's gone on for, what, an hour and a half or so? Don't know if there's, something else you want to see me do tonight. This thing went pretty quick. Talking about other projects I have going on. A big delay from video and audio on the stream. Really? Is there? Hold on, I'm going to check that. Don't know if there's something else. Seems to be working okay for me on my preview stream, so I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Yeah, I need to get new cameras and new things like that for these live streams, but right now it's just a pain in the butt to find cameras that work correctly and that you can actually get, because with the world climate as it is right now, everybody's working from home, so everybody's doing Zoom meetings, so everybody's like, I suddenly need a camera, and of course all the swanky people went out and bought the nice high-end cameras because they're like, I have to look beautiful in 4K on my Zoom meeting, and whatever. So it is what it is. Projects coming up. Let's talk about some things that are going on in the museum. I have been doing some of my past projects have been things like where I'm doing, I guess you do silent repair videos. Because that kind of thing seems to be popular on YouTube, and I want to present content in a way that people actually enjoy instead of just me blabbing in front of the camera. But those videos don't actually seem too terribly popular, so maybe people like to listen to me blab. I don't know. I'm also trying this live stream thing where maybe every Sunday or every 2 or 3 Sundays in a row, and then skipping one just to give myself a break, where I just sit down and we go over some old retro computing thing, talk, chat, have fun, do the thing, to see if that's a popular thing. Also doing it on Sunday nights, Easter time at 6 p.m. because that's, according to my analytics, that's what YouTube is telling me when people are watching stuff, so maybe doing that. The projects that I have coming up, lots of super cool things. If you're going to be going to Kansas Fest 2020, Virtual Kansas Fest, I have a really cool presentation coming up then regarding tricking out your transparent Apple II. The transparent Apple II chassis got kickstarted, or transparent Apple IIe chassis got kickstarted, and I'm going to be doing a presentation on how cool it would be to trick that out. And I'm going to not say any more than that, because if you want to see it, attend Kansas Fest 2020 on Saturday, Saturday the 26th or whenever it is of this month, and just check out my presentation there. Other things going on, I have several things back here in the back that are kind of top secret a little bit. I don't want to give it away too much, but I've got a kit here that I want to build. I've got another kit back here that I want to build. This kit right here is Apple related. This kit right here is also Apple related. This kit is not Apple related. It is retro computer related. And I wanted to show that. Also, it might be a little difficult to see, but right back here, this table back here, I just put that up yesterday because I'm getting a 3D printer so that I can start doing some 3D print related stuff related to retro computing, replacement parts, things of that nature. So awesome sauce. What model of solder remover gun was I using? Bruce G asks. Yes. So I'm using the Hako FR301, I believe it is. Yep, that's the FR301. We're kind of put that up there in the camera if I can get it to focus. It's basically the industry standard gun. It's kind of expensive. Comes with a kit. It's like a $200 soldering gun, but basically it's the industry standard. And it came on special on Amazon a month ago or so, so I decided to finally get it. I've only had it for about a month. You don't have to use that for doing pin desoldering. There are lots of other ways you can do it. I do have a backup way. Stand by. So the Hako, of course, is a vacuum gun. You just stick it on there and go, and it sucks it out. But this is a good alternative. This isn't it's not the type where it provides a constant vacuum. It's one of the slider types where you press it down and you press the button to get it to suck the solder back out. But this one has the integrated iron, so it stays hot and just pulls all that out. So you can use one of those as well. You can find 20 different models of this thing for really cheap, for like 30, 40, 50 bucks. So those are really helpful. If you're doing just occasional stuff, that kind of thing is perfectly fine. For just, quick hobbyist stuff, I need to remove one chip once a year type of thing. If you're getting more into doing board rebuild and stuff like I do, having the Hako, the 301 or something similar like that is very helpful to have. Other projects that I have going on, you can't see them back here, but one of the fellow Apple II enthusiasts lives near to me-ish. We met, we swapped some stuff. I gave him a couple of my old beige Macs, and he gave me 2 Apple IIIs. So I have a couple of Apple IIIs that are in various states of disrepair. I have them fully diagnosed and figured out. I just need to figure out a way that will be good to present that to the viewers, and that's kind of the trick there. I mean, I could just throw it on the bench and do it, but I want to make that presentation high quality, not just some random throw of stuff out there. So that's something else that's coming up. Lemon is asked, Lemon Herb. Herb, I'll just call him Herb because I know who it is. Did Mark send you the prototype? No, he did not send me a prototype. For my trick out, I don't need the prototype. For what I'm doing specifically, I happen to know where things are going to be in the chassis for the most part. And it should just work just fine with what I'm going to be doing with that. And if it doesn't, well, that's okay. What I'm planning to do is a very movable, adaptable project. So as far as tricking out your transparent Apple IIe, that should not be an issue. Yes, the solder sucker, yes. Christopher says the solder sucker makes life easier, no lifted pads. Exactly, yes. If you're doing any through-hole stuff, especially, it just pulls all of that solder right up out of that hole, out and around from it, and things just pop. They come right out of the holes in the connectors. Super duper easy. Am I going to drop the Apple III on the floor live on YouTube to reseat the chips? Do you want me to? Three, two, one. There, I did it. That dropping the chips on that one isn't gonna fix that one. I know what's wrong with that one specifically, and it's not chip seating; it's a busted chip. So yeah, that's not gonna fix that. Yeah. Of course, what else? What other stuff they have going on? If you're in the Ohio area and you like old beige iMacs or any of the how can I put it, the Bondi Blue 1996, 97. 3 inches, not 3 feet. Whatever. I have some of those that I'm wanting to get rid of because I'm trying to convert the majority of my collection out of 16 and 32-bit machines and more into 8-bit machines because, of course, 8 bits are all you need, right? So if you're, local-ish to the central Ohio area and you want some old Macs, hit me up. I can give you a list of what I got. But I'm trying to get some other more famous, world-famous 8-bit machines. Not necessarily Apple stuff, because I pretty much have all of the Apple devices except those super rare things. Looking for like ZX80s and Amstrad CPCs and just cool, weird, random, obscure things. An MSX computer would be really cool from Japan, for example. Just little things to round out my my collection, so I can show those things and share things that I never had access to as a kid, and be like, I can be a kid again. Here, let's share it with each other. So those are things that are going on. Tons of other little things that I want to do too. Like I want to get back to the JCM1 computer. If you guys aren't familiar with that, it's an Apple One style, or RC 2014 style single board computer that I designed. With a twist in that I'm designing it myself. I'm trying very, very hard not to copy anybody else's design. And the reason to do it is just to do it. I mean, yes, 6502 based single board computers are a dime a dozen. You can get any old single board PC that you want, or single board computer, play around with it, learn how to do it, do this, that, the other. But part of the fun of designing it yourself is learning all of the specifics required to design it, so that you're not just throwing a kit together, right? You're actually learning how the system works. And for these old 8-bit computers, by designing a single board computer myself, it helps diagnose other ones. So I'm learning things about signal timing, ground and power planes, decoupling capacitors, proper logic levels, making sure the chips are the right type of logic, just all these little details, so that when I go to diagnose something like an Apple III that has no video, it seems to work, but there's no video, I can actually look at a schematic, look at signals on an oscilloscope or with a logic probe, and say, oh, okay, well, it's not doing this because of this. Then I can trace it through the schematic and say, oh, okay, so this chip is bad. So that's the point behind doing that JCM1 project. So I do want to get back to that eventually. It's just insanely time consuming. If I were to only be doing a JCM1 project, I'd be doing 4 to 6 videos a year at most on that. I wouldn't be getting anything else done because it's so time consuming, and because I only basically have weekends and a couple hours, at the end of the day during the week to work on this stuff. So I kind of I flip-flop back and forth between those projects a little bit. Other little things. Yeah, I got other things too. Like, I've had this for over a year. This is Ian Maverick and Dave Mudaber's circuit board that they designed. I believe they're the ones who designed it to do a power supply, replacement power supply for a TRS-80. So that's a thing. It requires all the extra bits and parts and pieces and stuff, but whatever. I haven't done that because I designed my own. I have a video on that where I basically made my own power supply for that. But I figured I should put that together at some point. I also have a kit down here for learning how to use the 6502 by connecting it to an Arduino Mega, because I thought it was nifty. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see. Quick, weird, impromptu poll of the 16, 17 of you that are viewing right now. How many of you are frequent viewers? I'm just curious if you're folks who actually watch a lot of my content. I would figure you are, since it's a relatively small number, or not. I know what the mood box is for. Yes, or you know, if you're just catching it because you happen to come up through your pop-ups and you catched it or what. I'm just kind of curious on that. You know, because I want to, you know, with my channel, I do this as a hobby. I do it for fun, but I want to share that with you and hopefully provide some sort of education while I'm also educating myself as to what's going on. So, Lemon's here most of the time. Yes, yes, yes. I think we met the first time you and I met was at Kansas Fest 2019. I think is when we met. So I know Lemon Herb. So stumbled in from Bookface. Yes. Bruce G watches the recorded stuff. The first live broadcast. I have a Floppy Emu, so I wanted to see what you were doing to fix yours. Luckily, yours still works. Yes. As you see, it's not, you know, doing that SMT work, Bruce, is not too terribly difficult if you go slow and, you know, take your time. So, I check a channel on a regular basis. Thank you. Yes, love your 6502 madness. Yes, you guys do know I have my license plate is 6502, right? You know, I'm that crazy about that kind of thing. Super. The 6502 is my favorite 8-bit processor. It's just so easy to program and work with. The Z80 is also cool, don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit more difficult to work with. So, watch all my videos. I watch most of the 8-bit guys. Yes, the 8-bit guy, he's kind of the guy that smaller YouTubers like me look up to as far as his production value. The guy has an IQ of like 299. He's insanely intelligent. His production value is super good. He knows tons of stuff about a whole bunch of tons of stuff. I try to catch his videos too. So yeah, I get that. First time to catch you live. Of course, I found you right after moving from Columbus. Yeah. 6809 guy, but enjoy watching the Apple Glass. Yeah, dude, it's a 6809. Absolutely. The Coco 2, Coco 3. Absolutely. Hope to see me at VCF East one day. You know, they were supposed to have that in April this year, and you know, world events occurred, and I ended up not registering for that. If world events end up being a lot better by October, then you know, we can maybe meet at VCF East this October or whenever that happens. There's also Tandy Assembly that happens in Springfield, Ohio. That I've never gone to, so but it's like it's like a couple hours away from me. It's like no big deal. I could almost like drive down there and then like drive back the next night, you know. So maybe we'll see you there. He's awesome and local to me. Yeah, Peter. Yeah, he's just David Murray is just insanely cool. I think he's was he supposed to be presenting at VCF East this year? I thought maybe, I don't know. And I need a catchy name like Joe's Digital Basement. You know, Adrian's channel is flipping awesome. He and I kind of started around the same time. And I'm so jealous of him because he's got like 25 times as many subscribers as I do. But then I look at his production value and I look at the quality of his knowledge compared to me. I'm just some little goof with a homemade bench that likes to play with stuff, right? Oh man, the guy is awesome. He really does know what he is doing. So super props to Adrian. You know, my channel's Joe's Computer Museum. I mean, it's a computer museum. It might be a digital basement. It kind of is, because it is in the basement. But Adrian got there first before me, so we'll let him have that. Regular exhibitor at Tandy Assembly. If I can make it, you know, maybe I'll see you there. So yeah. What else is going on? You know, it's just in the bunker, doing the thing, living the life, and trying to just have fun doing it. I'm trying to think if there's any other projects I got going on. The only two we've had so far. Yes, okay. Well, you know, you've only been there a couple times. That's fine. I've been thinking about going since 2018 or so. I just never happened to make it because of work schedules and stuff. I'm talking about Tandy Assembly. So, you know, we'll see. Yes, VCF East is 10, 11, 12, and 8-bit guy is going to be there. See, I thought so. Yeah, and it just depends again on my work schedule. I usually take a little fall sabbatical around that time of year, so I might be able to make it. But then again, with world events as they are, if things aren't cleared up by then, I'm not going anywhere. I've been working from home since March. I have gone to client appointments maybe 5 times since March. I've done almost no on-site installation, no on-site projects, nothing like that. In case you're curious, what I'm talking about is my day job. I'm an IT guy. I know servers and programming and computer repair and all of that kind of stuff. But I'm primarily a sales guy, and I've just been working from home. And if stuff isn't resolved by time VCF East comes up, I'm not going. I'm just I will be there in spirit, but I'm not going to go in person. That's kind of why I'm glad that Kansas Fest decided to go virtual this year. It's going to be kind of weird. You're going to miss all the camaraderie and stuff that you get from Kansas Fest every year, but the fact that we're still able to get together, have virtual virtual meetings and stuff, virtual presentations, and still kind of get there, get that that involvement from the community. I think that's cool. So, it remains to be seen. What else do I want to work? Gosh, I still have a Coco 3 I haven't showed you guys. I still have an Amiga 500 that I got over a year ago that I haven't shown. I have a TI 99 4A that needs a lot of TLC that I haven't shown. I've got an IBM PC Junior that I haven't shown. I also have a whole bunch of IBM PC-like stuff back here that I just have never shown on the channel either because, in my opinion, they're boring. It's stuff I collected to have, just to have it back like in 2005 or whatever, that I haven't shown on the channel. So maybe that stuff will show up at some point. Just lots of I got just tons of ideas, and it's a factor of what is going to be the best thing to show people, what's going to be the best catch, the best whatever, the most interesting thing for folks that I happen to have on my plate, and also that's going to be fun for me to do. I mean, PC Junior for the win. Yeah. It's basically the best gaming platform for the PC style stuff of that era that exists. It's the best PC. Not fully PC compatible, of course, but just blew the IBM PC and the XT away as far as being able to do cool stuff. So, yeah. I'm missing a couple peripherals for it, though. What am I missing for it? I don't have a joystick for it, and I think it uses a weird, funky joystick port. I also don't have a monitor for it. It uses a weird monitor connection. I have a monitor that I believe is compatible with it, but I don't have an actual PC, an IBM what do you want to call it? IBM branded monitor to go with the PC Junior. I think I can use my Tandy color, my Tandy 1000 color monitor for that. Yes, I have a Tandy 1000 as well, which is kind of the PC Junior's bigger, better brother. That's basically a PC Junior that is more compatible with an IBM PC. So I've got that. Yeah, CGA exactly. I just have to I got to do a connection for it. So, so just lots of stuff on the back burner. If I keep leaving stuff on the back burner like that, I'm going to end up catching the kitchen on fire. But, again, I'll make sure to record that so that you can all see the fire, because fire is entertaining. Anything else to talk about? I mean, I'm just sitting here blabbing on about what's going on in the museum, talking about myself, which it is my museum. That's kind of the point. But, I'm kind of, how can I say, I am kind of not compatible with the PC Junior. Joystick, you can hook up with that. I have a case of them from Computer Reset. Ha ha! Yes, Peter, can you send me a Facebook message or something on that so we can figure that out. But yeah. Yeah, just tons of stuff going on. Yeah, I got an Apple IIc. Not a C+, but a C from a local guy last winter that I want to show off. I want to clean that up. Maybe do a team up with Javier Rivera, if you know Javier, the RetroBrite master, the guy who can RetroBrite anything and make it look beautiful. Maybe send that to him and have him RetroBrite it down there in sunny Florida, ship it back to me, and I do some other recovery or fixes to it. I don't know. I mean, it works, but it's in pretty rough shape. I don't know. Maybe something like that. But yeah, and you know, if there are any of you out there too who have your own YouTube channels who want to collaborate with me on stuff, I super love working with folks. If you saw our live stream last Sunday, it should be linked in my page. If you look at my YouTube page, and look at the video section there, you should see it where we put together my lead brake kit. Here, let me get it down for you. Here it is. Let me see if I can get this down without spilling a whole bunch of stuff all over the place. There we go. Here's the lead brake kit. This silly thing. If you saw me at Kansas Fest 2019, you saw my my kit that my door hanger, my door sign that I made was basically just a cardboard version of this, and I had enough interest at Kansas Fest to go ahead and actually spin my first printed circuit board. Alex J. Cox helped me with the design, and Chris and Javier helped me a lot with figuring out some little details on it. And then we all got together last weekend and did a little contest. I sent them some boards and some LEDs, and we got on a chat together and on a Zoom chat, and we streamed that live and to see who could get the board built first. And for some reason, I have absolutely no idea. I won. I have no idea how that happened because I'm like the world's worst solderer. Maybe they were trying to be nice to me and letting me win. I don't know, but that's fine. Yeah, we all got together and did that. So, you know, if you're out there, if you have your own channel and you guys want to, you know, collaborate, do things, you know, let me know. I'm really super into just playing with the community, just chilling and just doing stuff. These are for sale, by the way, if you want to grab one at jcm-1.com. I will put that in the chat for you. I do sell those, so if you want to buy one of those kits and put it together, you can, and then you can watch my video or the live stream where we put it together to see how it goes together. So pretty cool stuff. You have two Model 1 Level 2 TRS-80s that you need to restore. Just finished 3 Apple II Plus RFIs. Yes, I have an Apple II Plus RFI that I just finished doing some work. Nothing really video worthy. I just cleaned it up a little bit. And I have a TRS-80 Model 1 Level 2 right over here that I fixed in a video a year and a half ago. So yeah, I know what you're talking about. Let's see. Any other equipment peripherals you're missing looking for? Everything. If it's 8-bit and weird, yeah, I like it. The things that I have pretty much the entire Apple II line, so I don't need anything there. Single board computers, Kim 1s, Sim 1s, AIM 65s, stuff like that. That would be cool. Things I'm looking for. Anything TRS-80 of the Model 1, 2, 3, you know, the businessy TRS-80s. TI-99 4A I'm pretty set on. Any little bits and pieces for my Amiga 500, you know, stuff like that. John Moutz's kit arrived on Friday. I'm glad you got your kit. I actually checked the tracking on that today to make sure that came in. So that's cool. You know, just stuff like that, or anything that's not popular in the United States. Things like, you know, Amstrad CPC, or MSXs, or Acorns, or BBC Micros, or anything weird like that. I'm looking for. Any 8080 gear like Altair, IMSI, SOL, yeah, that would be cool stuff to have too. And by looking for, I mean, I'm a pretty inactive looker. I'm not the type who goes on like eBay and just hunts around searching for stuff all the time, or anything like that. I mean, if something happens to come up and I'm looking for, or I happen to see it, or it comes up across one of the Facebook groups that I'm on, and it's like, hey Joe, here's this really cool thing, you know, I'll grab it then. You know, or somebody's like, hey, Joe, do you want to trade? I've got this really super awesome thing. Do you have any super awesome things that you could trade with? You know, I do stuff like that. But I'm not the kind of person who's constantly trolling around and hunting on eBay unless something just hots into my head, like the video I did relatively recently of the Timex Sinclair 1500. I got a bug in my head. I'm like, I'm going to look for that, and ended up getting one. So, you know, whatever. Does anybody collect Ohio Scientific? I never see them around anywhere. You know, that's a really good question. I have never personally seen one either. I think it'd be cool to have one. And I would think being in Ohio with a name like Ohio Scientific, I might see them slightly more often, but no. No, Ohio is weird. Actually, it's kind of almost like it's an old computer graveyard here because we're so far from any super large population center. You know, it's not like if you're in Los Angeles or Chicago or, you know, any of the big cities or the Silicon Valley area or the Silicon Plains. You know, the Texas Instruments and stuff like that down in that area. If you're you know, if you're way up north in like Seattle in that area, there's always tons of good old hardware there. I mean, look at Computer Reset. Computer Reset down there in, what was it, Fort Worth or something like that. You know, that just ran for years and years and years with just tons of old cool stuff just because it's stocked up. People up here and where I'm from, they just don't like old computers. You know, if to them it just gets thrown away and it's done because there's no nascent, you know, technology market in this area. It's, to us, it's computers were always just an appliance like a TV or something. So, what year is it in Ohio? You're from Michigan, okay? Or do we have to do an Ohio versus Michigan thing here? No, I'm kidding. I don't care about that. What year is it? I don't know. I think we're in our 4th consecutive 2020, or at least it feels like that at this point. But yeah. So yeah, it's an old tech desert up in here. I mean, anything I find locally happens to be an absolute fluke. Total just luck of the draw type of thing. I happen to see it on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. You know, that just, or somebody happens to bring it into my computer repair shop where I work, and it's just some random old piece of something. Do you recycle this? And I'm like, sure, I'll recycle it for you directly onto this shelf. But yeah, there's just, unless I want to eBay it and pay $200 for shipping and do all that stuff, there's just nothing around here. So whatever I find, I end up having fun. Yeah, I moved from British Columbia to Prince Edward Island. No retro. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, that's the thing. It's like, unless you were in one of those areas where the tech was super popular and there's a big tech industry in that area, it's a wasteland. It's whatever somebody happens to find in the bottom of their basement or in their attic or something when an estate sale happens, and it ends up in a trash bin because nobody knows the value. Not that there's a lot of monetary value, but there's a lot of sentimental and preservation value there. Or it just ends up on, like, it ends up in a yard sale or garage sale, and somebody randomly gets it, and I don't know, they strip it down for gold. There's a lot of that going on. Don't do that, you know. OSU surplus didn't even have anything good from 2005 onward. Yeah, see, and that's Peter knows exactly what's happening up in this area. It's just, right? There's even I'm relatively close to me. There's a really good surplus store called JDM Surplus that has tons of old stuff, just cool old crap. They had oscilloscopes and high-tech health gear from NIH, from National Institutes of Health, last year. But old computer stuff? No, just I go up there every once in a while to look for just some, like, cables or weird connectors or extra sets of speakers or stuff like that I might need for this or that reason, but they never have old computers up there. It's just not a thing that happens. So Yeah, just not interested in tech here. Yeah, yeah. So it is what it is. So also at my store, if you want one to help fund the museum and help keep it going, you can get one of my drinking mugs. Haha. That is a take on the print shop application. When you go to print and it says thinking, printing, thinking, printing, I made one that says drinking, so you can get those on my store. Delicious tea. So cool stuff that you can get there as well. Again, if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, you can follow me on there. I mostly post stupid jokes, talk about weird technological stuff, and let people know that when I'm going to be doing new videos and live streams. If you want to support my my channel as well, you can jump on Patreon, which is up here, Joe's Computer Museum, and just $1 a month, anything like that, really helps out the museum and helps keep things going for me. So if that's something you want to do, you can do that. Keep in mind, if you do want to go to jcm-1.com and order any product, shipping is a little wacky and weird right now worldwide. So if you order something there, it might take a little while to get it. Might take a couple weeks for things to show up. So just keep that in mind. Oh, John, you like the thinking cup. Why don't you get one for yourself? I also have a thinking cap. Oh, you are saying thinking cap, not thinking cup. Well, there you go. Yes. So you can go on jcm-1.com and get this exact same design. It says thinking, but it's on a hat. And it's right here up on the bill, you know, like a thinking cap. So that's something you can do. Sweet, delicious tea. All right. Well, you know, we've been going on for almost 2 hours now. It's coming up on 8 p.m. local time. I don't have anything else to talk about unless we all just want to sit and blab and veg out together. So unless anybody has any specific questions for me about the museum, what's going on, the kinds of tools I use, anything like that, you know, I think it might be time to wind up and put a feather in the cap for tonight. Anybody got anything else they want me to talk about aside from my, you know, weirdness and oddities, projects and things? No, I think I pretty much went over everything. So, thanks for the information. You know, I am glad I was able to. I was glad I was able to help you out there, Bruce. Anybody who's doing SMT or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, what else can I say? So, you know, I think I'm going to leave you guys for tonight. It has been super fun hanging out with you. Hopefully I'll do more of these coming up in the future to see just, I don't know, just to see what's going on and whatnot. My next stream, probably putting together this Apple II, Apple related kit. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet until I announce that. I want to keep there a little bit of suspense, keep it coming back. But maybe I'll do that next Sunday. We'll see. I don't know. SMT is the devil. Yes. LXDM is asking, when do I have new videos? You know, I've been chatting about that a little bit throughout the stream here. The amount of time I had to make videos is somewhat limited, so I'm trying to see if maybe doing live streams on Sundays will keep me out in front of people, keep it fresh, and then we can also interact. It's not just some video that you do where you drop comments and I reply to the comments later. We can actually talk. You can ask me questions. I can show you things. So we'll see how that's going coming up soon. So. All right, well, I think I'm going to take off for the evening. I want to thank you all again for joining me for the stream. It was super awesome. Again, check out the store, jcm-1.com. Support me on Patreon and this little box thing up here. Follow me on Twitter. Do the this, that, the whatnot, and keep it real. And we will see you all later. Good evening, folks.